Hello, everybody, and welcome to Turn to Page 35, Hocus Pocus Horror. How are you doing today, Rhapsody?
Amazingly!
Oh, I'm abracadabra, okay? Is that there? We're there?
Hocus Pocus, okay?
Hocus Pocus? I don't know. I feel like that's a whole different spell. That's like, that creates a cake of the quality of Nailed It, is what that does. Just like...
I would never stop casting that spell. I don't care how they look. I guess they're all delicious to me. It's cake. How bad can you screw up cake? There's sugar, flour, egg, milk, cake.
You'd say that, and then you list some ingredients that often on the show Nailed It aren't included on accident.
That's true. They do often accidentally create hardtack.
It's true. They're like, oh, I accidentally all of the sugar as salt. Sorry.
Nailed It does occasionally refer to the fact that you can use what they baked as a hammer to create the set for the next show that Netflix does like it.
It's true. And speaking of Nailed It, this came up a couple of weeks ago and it came from the internet, but this guy reminds me of a sort of Nailed It-esque cake as well.
Absolutely. Like, he's got the exact complications on him that would just trip up someone who's trying to make it quite quickly. He's got 3 different skin textures. Yeah. So we've got, like, the underground kind of, like, bumpy, goosebumpy kind of wow, it wasn't actually goosebumps, lowercase g goosebumps kind of skin.
Yes.
And then got green fur on one side, purple fur on another. This is a character that you would describe to someone in order to see how well they would be able to reproduce it, either in artwork or cake.
Yeah.
Or both.
Because we're looking
I'm not saying cake can't be artwork.
Yeah, of course. We're looking at what I can only assume is a rabbit. It has no rabbit ears. So one would assume no, but...
No, the rabbit ears still haven't been pulled out of the magician's hat it's wearing.
Yeah, he's wearing a very tiny askew magician's hat, and he is snapping...
It's very dapper.
It's true. Snapping a magic wand in half with his, I don't know, like, goat-like teeth. It's a strange little gremlin creature, this is. But
yeah, I am also getting like a lot of goat energy from this. It does feel like I've been murdered in Desktop Dungeons in one of the tutorial levels. I've been destroyed by one of those goats.
I could see that for sure. He's just a cranky little soul, ain't he? But I have high hopes just because Under the Magician's Spell was so up there for me. And I'm almost surprised that we get a second magician-themed book. But
isn't it our third? Not to break general path, but there was the Under the Magician Spell, which, if I recall, was in like the magic shop.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
And it might just be my interpretation of it, but the tattoo teepee skinned man who created like a tent out of his own skin and showed us the dismay and misfortune, he also seemed to be quite deeply magical.
It's true.
Sorcerous, even.
It's true, but I can't remember what book that was in. But it definitely was not it was not billed because it was not billed as this is the weird tattoo magician book. He was just he just happened to be a guy in it.
Yeah, I think the other path might have been completely different.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like that in my head I'm like, oh, that was Knight in Screaming Armor, but I don't think it was.
No, it was much later than that.
Yeah. Either way, do you want to learn about this book? Also, huge shout out, thank you, Something Scary, for sending in scans of this book. Very, very, very appreciated. Helps a great deal. Big shout out.
Extremely deeply appreciated. Could not have been more timely.
Could not have been more timely. Could not have been done just without. Very good. Very good. Would you like
like without it, this week's episode would probably be something else.
That is true.
Little break.
That's true. But you know what isn't something else? The text at the top of this page that is always the same. Oh, boy.
Rito, don't read the book from beginning to end.
You always tell me that.
All right. The Great Mysterio's Magic Show is coming to town. You and your best friend just have to go see it. Mysterio's powers seem so real, it's scary. But you have no idea how scary until he picks you up to come up on stage. That's when you discover Mysterio is really a master of evil who turns people into phantoms. Can you stop him from making you his phantom assistant permanently?
Yes. I would imagine one of the paths, yes.
I'm certain at least one of the paths I am capable of doing that. There's also probably a path where I become the evil Mysterio. And I guess I'm not his phantom assistant in that instance, but it's probably not an all good ending.
Yeah.
This is probably the most open-ended of a Beware we've had for quite a long time.
I like that. I like that a lot. I also like the necessity, or the perceived necessity of the word permanently. Can you stop him from making you his phantom assistant? That's bad enough. Like that implies permanence to me. I don't know. That seems like he's gonna kill you, turn you into a ghost. Forever. Yep. He's gonna kill you forever.
He's not gonna unkill you and turn you back from a ghost.
How dare he? But alas, here we go.
On page 1.
This is amazing!
Your friend Zach grabs your arm. The two of you have prime seats at the new Civic Center auditorium. You're here to see the magic act of the Great Mysterio. Zach's here because he's totally into magic. The dweeb actually thinks it's real. You're here because you heard Mysterio uses animals in his act. You're a major animal lover, and you want to make sure that Mysterio isn't mistreating any cats or dogs. On the stage in front of you, Mysterio pulls a bouquet of flowers from his hat. There's a flash of light. Your eyes widen as the bouquet turns into a white dove. You feel your jaw drop in astonishment. Wow, that was cool. Can Mysterio really have magic powers? The bird flutters across the stage and vanishes. The audience claps. Zach elbows you in the ribs.
I told you Mysterio was for real?
He taunts.
May I have 2 volunteers?
Mysterio asks.
Yeah!
Zach calls. He jumps up to his feet. He pulls you up with him.
We'll do it!
You shrink back into your seat. No way are you going to make a total fool of yourself in front of an audience, but you're too late.
You're in the 4th row.
Mysterio points at you and Zach. His freaky, intense eyes bore into you.
Go through the door on the left.
Go through onto page 2. You're going to make a fool of yourself on the magic page, because you're magic immune. It's going to bounce off and you're going to ruin the show. It's gonna... goes.
I legitimately have thought about that a couple of times. Of like, you know how hypnotism like largely is about suggestibility and whether or not you're going to play along in the instance and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I'm worried that I would be the person who would ruin hypnotism or mysterious acts like that. Like, bring me up on stage and go, okay, now dance around like a chicken. No, I'm not going to do that. You can't peer pressure me into that just because everyone's expecting me to.
Yeah, no, that'd be embarrassing. Less embarrassing than talking back to a magician on stage.
Yeah, I guess.
But I'm with you. I'd be the same way. I'm like, don't pick me because I'm not going to do what you want because I'm going to be too paralyzed. No. But you follow Zach through the door. Whoa, totally weird. As you walk down the narrow hallway in front of you, your stomach twists as if you just took a fast elevator down. The floor, the ceiling, and the walls seem to wobble in and out like an out-of-focus movie. Zach's face turns green.
I feel sick.
He complains.
Something weird's going on here. Let's get out of here.
You suggest.
Huh? And lose our chance to appear on stage with the Great Mysterio?
Zach exclaims.
No way! We're gonna be famous!
Yeah, I can see the headlines.
What a take! What a take! You know that time that every time that you see those street magicians, the person who gets famous is the person who says, yes, that's my card.
Yep. I don't even remember David Blaine's name.
Who?
I remember the name of
Kathy.
the guy in the red shirt who went, what? When he saw the King of Hearts.
I remember Kathy, the excitable mother from, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. You scoff.
Yeah, I can see the headlines.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. You scoff.
Local kid barfs on stage at magic show. Audience goes wild.
Zach clucks at you and flaps his arms like a chicken.
Okay.
You grumble.
But just remember, this was your idea.
You and Zach walk down the dim hallway and push open the door at the far end. Zach steps through.
Oh no!
He stops so suddenly that you bang into him.
What is it?
You ask.
What's wrong?
To find out what's wrong, go to page 86. If only it was that easy in real life.
Agreed. I also had pretty much the exact same response. Find out what's wrong on page 86. Oh, that'd be so simple.
Life could be sweet. 86.
What's wrong? Just look.
Zach whispers. You step through the door. The backstage area is run down and thick with dust. Not what you'd expect from the brand new Civic Center auditorium. You edge past some fraying ropes to peek at the stage, and your eyes widen in shock. Mysterio looks different too. His face is ghostly white. Red sparks flash from his eyes, which are sunk deep into his skull. He holds a cute little puppy that doesn't look very happy.
All right, dog. Tell us your name.
Wait, Mysterio commands. Mysterio holds a metal rod up to the dog's hind leg. Zep. Oh. You see a spark. The dog gives a bark. It sounds like... The audience claps.
Tell me, Ralph, what part of your house keeps out the rain?
Oh, Zap. The frightened dog barks again.
Ah, roof!
Mysterio announces.
Absolutely right.
You stare in shock. This guy is the worst. He's torturing that little puppy.
And now for our 2 volunteers.
Mysterio, the evil man, announces.
They'll remember this act for the rest of their lives. Of course, that may not be very long.
Zach!
You whisper.
He's clearly evil! Let's
Yeah?
get out of here! No, he's coming!
Zach replies.
We better hide. If he doesn't find us, he'll go on with his act. Then we can escape.
Wow, I think I'm getting the impression this is not a good guy.
You know the kick the dog moments, like that's the version to talk about a character being suddenly revealed to be evil because they do something that is morally reprehensible and inexplicable, right? The kick the dog moment in fiction and media. I haven't seen a directly torture with electricity the dog moment, but I gotta tell you, it's turning me against this guy quite quickly.
Yeah, on character reveal. Like, hello, my name is Mysterio, Zap Dog. Like,
Yeah,
just what
My
the
name
hell?
is the dog torturer Mysterio. Oh, did I say that? Oops.
Yeah.
Like,
You're gonna remember this act for the rest of your lives, but it won't be very long. As if I was not clear enough about my evil intent, I'll say it again in a new way.
exactly. There was a part, like, because I'm reading this, live in situ, where I thought, oh, okay, he's trying to perform it with a little bit of ambiguity in that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean on that, and then he just clarifies. What are you doing, buddy? This guy is the worst magician.
of
This
course.
isn't a trick.
Yeah. Where's the misdirection? The misdirection is that he's gonna make you have a nice, happy life, and that it wasn't torture on the dog. That's the misdirection. That's the only thing that at this point would be a trick. That was the only possible trick this man can do. Oh my. Okay, think fast. Run or hide. Run for your life on 130 or decide to hide on page 50.
I like that neither of these options are just go on stage.
Yeah. I mean, I think they know it. I mean, they get it. I think that they understood that they were making a bad guy. So, I don't have a strong... These both have the same flavor to me.
I think they have a slightly different flavor in one way, and that's if we decide to hide down here. Like, who's gonna know the backstages of this, staging area for performance in an auditorium better than the magician who's trying to use the space? I almost feel like if we hide somewhere, we might hide in a box, and then he brings the box on stage and starts sliding saws and swords and big saws into it and things like that.
Yeah,
I think
true.
running for our life is the right option for us.
I think that is true. It is just too... You're right. It is too easy to find an innocuous crate is perhaps the most dangerous place when you're around a magician. So, yeah, 1:30 it is.
I'm out of here.
You cry.
Are you with me, Zach? Yeah, believe it.
He announces. You start to run for the door, and Zach is right behind you. Suddenly, something white with brown spots shoots past you. It skids to a stop at the door. Then it whirls around to face you. It's Mysterio's dog, Ralph. You and Zach hesitate, and the dog stares at you.
Do you think it's some kind of demon dog?
Zach whispers.
I don't think so.
You whisper back.
I think the poor mistreated pup just wants to get out of here. Like us.
Ralph gazes up at you with big, pleading eyes.
Ralph!
He barks.
Ralph, off!
Ralph off. I wish it said Ralph off to page 128. But no. Turn to page 128.
Ralph off to page 128. That'll work for us.
Ralph off to 128. Would you please? Ralph off. Okay, dogs don't talk. Not even dogs from a magic act. Still, you think you know what Ralph means. He wants to run off from Mysterio, and he wants you and Zach to help him.
Ralph!
Mysterio shouts from the stage.
Get back here or I'll turn you into Jog Chow! And where are my volunteers? I want them on stage now!
The puppy shivers again. He turns and jumps into a big old-fashioned suitcase that sits open in a corner near the door. The stenciled words on the front read, Mysterio's Bag of Tricks.
Come on!
You can hear the panic in Zach's voice. He dashes out the door.
Let's go!
But wait, you have to help poor Ralph. You jog over to the suitcase and peer in, but Ralph isn't inside. It's weird. You saw the dog jump in, and you know he didn't jump out again, so where is he? You feel around in the suitcase, and you notice a half-open box labeled disappearing powder. Did Ralph spill some on himself? Whoa, what if he's still inside the suitcase, invisible?
Ralph!
Mysterio's voice is so much closer now. You better get out of there. If he catches you, he may turn you into dog chow too. One question. Should you grab the suitcase before you run? Just in case Ralph is still inside? Take the suitcase on page 72, or just make tracks
let's go to
out of
72.
there. Yeah. But I'm taking the time. Yes. That's the correct
I don't mean to cut off the alternative path, but that dog might still be in there.
Yeah, the only reason to not go for it is because you think that it's a mislead and actually the dog isn't in there. Because we felt around, But if it has the implication, we are going to 72. You can't leave Ralph with Mysterio, the maniac. You slam down the lid of the suitcase, grab by the handle, and race out of the door. You can hear the great Mysterio shouting threats behind you. In the corridor, you get the falling elevator feeling in your stomach again. You spot a door with an exit sign over it. It wasn't there a moment ago. Ordinarily, that would bother you a lot. But right now, you don't have time to be any more scared than you already are. You push it open and run outside. You give a big sigh of relief. You know the street. You're back home almost. Zach peeps out from behind a parked van.
Over here.
he calls.
What's that?
He asks, pointing to the suitcase. You hold it up.
The puppy's inside.
You explain.
You stole Mysterio's dog? And his suitcase?
Zack stares at you.
I rescued the dog,
You counter.
and we can leave the suitcase by the stage door. That's not stealing.
Uh-oh. We're in major trouble.
Zack points at the suitcase. On the side, in glowing letters, the message, Mysterio's bag of tricks. Do not open. Danger. Gulp. Danger? What kind of things could possibly be inside the case? To find out, turn to page 63. to open the thing, without question, go to page 63.
Yeah. It seems like we should not.
You stare at the warning on the side of the suitcase. Could something really horrible happen if you open it up again? And if there is something dangerous in there, is it hurting Ralph? If Ralph is even in there. Oh, this is getting confusing. You shake your head hard to clear your brain. You can't let some stupid words on Mysterio's case scare you. You can't let that sign stop you because you can't read. They're just words after all. Even if they are glowing, you reach for the latches.
I'd better let Ralph out.
Don't do that!
Zack exclaims.
Can't you read? It says danger. And I want to go home. I don't like it out here.
He shoves his hands into his pockets and shivers.
I just feel like a mouse waiting for a cat to come along.
If you open the suitcase now, turn to page 21. If you head for Zack's house, turn to page 44. We're just like on the street?
Yeah, just down on the street. Although I will say, a little part of my body, soul, mind, I believe it's quite possible that as we were, making our transition towards backstage, we effectively went into an alternate universe, right? And this is like a parallel universe of our own. It's possible that Zack doesn't live in Zack's home, or that like demons live there, or something like that. I don't think this is our world. But at the same time, I also don't necessarily think we immediately need to open the suitcase. We could go to Zack's house and find that out for ourselves.
It's true. The thing is, I think that's entirely like the thing. I think we are in an alternate universe. The question is that where the plot is anyways? So, like, do we need to go there to find out that we're in the wrong universe? Perhaps. Could be worth it.
Where
and
are
I'm
you
also,
leaning?
this is just a personal thing. If I thought that there was possibly an invisible dog in my suitcase and I was on the street, I would not open the suitcase on the street.
Yep.
But I just would, that's where cars are. And you can't see the dog.
Exactly.
The presumed
no car's gonna
dog.
be able to slow down.
Yeah, it's just like, I would open it up in a house. That's mostly what I'm going on for wanting to do that.
As our characters agree, we're on page 44.
I guess it would be better to wait.
You declare. You pick up the suitcase.
The dog will be safer if we open it at your house.
Wait. Zack lives a 10-minute walk away. You're halfway there when a cold wind begins to moan on the treetops. Thick fog drifts around you, making it hard to see. That's weird, you think as you shiver. Just a minute ago, it was warm and clear. And what's that sound? Your head whips around. It's almost as if someone in the fog is whispering.
Thief! Thief!
Is that your conscience talking? Or worse, did Mysterio find out you took his stuff? Zack glances over his shoulder.
Do you hear somebody following us?
I don't think so.
You reply. You peer through the fog. You don't see anyone, and the voices seem to have stopped. But what if Mysterio's magic is real? Could he change the weather? Or send ghosts after you? You decide not to tell Zack about your fears. He's already jumpy enough. Besides, it's probably all your imagination. Turn to page 8.
What are they eventually going to reveal that Ralph was actually trying to communicate by saying off? I haven't stopped thinking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog was trying to say roof. I don't know. It'll happen.
Ralph off. Ralph off. Ralph off? Ralph off. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to say that he is a real kid. And is like Ralph Offerman or something. I don't know. Who knows?
I legitimately think that's quite likely as well.
We'll see. You keep heading towards Zach's. For some reason, the suitcase is getting harder to carry. It's almost as if someone's weighing it down. You drop it on the sidewalk, panting.
Can you help me carry this?
You ask Zach.
Sure.
Zach picks up one end and you take the other.
Whoa, it's a lot heavier than it looks. I know.
You gulp.
I swear it wasn't this heavy when we started. It probably just seems heavier.
Zach suggests.
You know, muscle fatigue from carrying it so far.
You nod, hoping he's right. You don't like the idea that somehow something in that suitcase might be getting heavier. Turn to page 41.
We're gonna open it and Mysterio himself is just gonna pop out, right?
Yeah! Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's my guess at this point.
Yeah.
As soon as you enter Zach's house, the suitcase feels lighter.
That's weird.
Zach comments.
How come the suitcases? I don't know.
You cut him off. Rude. You don't want to think about the answer. What is the like? I don't get the fear about it getting heavier over time. Like, I get it's a weird thing, but like, it's not an innately malicious thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't understand the like. Don't finish that. I don't want to think about the fact that it's getting heavier. I don't know. It's a strange reaction to me.
I think the only way I can interpret it is like the characters are so deeply on edge from, you know, the weird experiences culminating so far, you know, thief being whispered on the winds and things like that, that anything out of the ordinary is just like, I don't know, stop. It should stop happening.
Yeah, I mean, can relate. How dare you? Why is my phone at such low battery? What did you do?
Mysterio's in my phone.
Were you downloading videos on my phone? Like, why else would it be at 10% right now? I probably charged it. Okay. You don't want to think about the answer, especially if it might involve Mysterio's magic. You just want to let Ralph out and return the suitcase to the weird magician. Then this strange night will be over. The house is dark. Zach's parents are out for the evening. You cross the front hall and enter the living room. You open the suitcase as Zach turns on all the lights, but still the room feels gloomy. You shudder. Shadows seem to creep all along the walls. Stop imagining things, you order yourself. Zach grabs your arm.
Look!
He points at the window. A masked figure in a long black cloak stands outside, staring in at the open suitcase. Oh no. Did Mysterio follow you?
He can't get in.
Zach assures you.
The window's locked.
The intruder raises a hand and makes a gesture. You hear a click. The window starts to glide open. The locked window glide over to page 58. Well, if it's so locked, then...
Good job locking it, nerd. Now we're gonna die.
My magic. A locked thing is unlocked. The magic of a key. You and Zach hurl yourselves behind the couch. You peek over the top. Your heart pounds as you watch the window continue to open. By itself. Oh, well, that was not implied. This isn't a trick done with mirrors, you realize with growing terror. That masked figure has real magical abilities. Is it Mysterio? If not, who is it? And what will he do to you? The masked figure leans in through the window.
Give me the suitcase,
He demands.
or else.
Give it to him, quick!
Zach urges. What should you do? Taking Ralph has turned out to be a lot more dangerous than you ever imagined. You can end the terror now by handing over the suitcase, but that also means handing over the little dog. Presumably. The alleged dog. And besides, how do you know that's really Mysterio behind the mask? Give the suitcase to the masked figure on page 101 or hang on to it on page 104. If it's the kind of thing where it's like, do you do the thing that we're clearly setting up to be the correct thing? And then maybe it's basically just, will we screw you over for doing it? Because it's clear, like, there's no, are you really going to give up the wee baby dog? But the thing is, obviously I don't want that. But I don't know. I can't tell if this book is a trickster yet or not. You'd think with it being a magic book, is it a goofer? But I'm not getting that inkling yet.
Neither. I also sit on the side of like, this is up to effectively whether or not Goosebumps wants to be mean or not here.
Yeah.
But if we, can't control for Goosebumps in that way, I think we just control instead for our own approach. Would you want to hang on to the dog if there's a possibility that it's in the case? Personally, yeah, I think so. I think you too as well.
It's true. I will say, I would think we would have heard a noise by now.
Yeah.
Unless it is a noise-canceling and invisibility powder DLC. But I doubt it. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. I feel like they're keeping it ambiguous to an extent where one path he is in there, one path he's not. Like, genuinely. That's my real thought. But hey, you should give back the bag of tricks, but you just can't. Why do we know that? We don't know
Ralph's
that.
in there. We can't just turn him over to Mysterio.
You tell Zach?
We don't even know if that is Mysterio. I mean, what if we gave the suitcase to this guy, and then Mysterio shows up? We'll be in, like, super big trouble.
Zach nods, but his face is still pale.
Yeah, but so what do we do?
You glance around the room. Your eyes fall on the suitcase.
I know. Maybe we can use something from the bag of tricks. But the label on it says danger.
Zach reminds you.
We'll have to risk it.
You glance towards the dark figure.
We're already in danger anyway.
You crawl over to the suitcase and you take a deep breath and open it. Inside, you find weird bottles, coiled ropes, piles of silk scarves. There's even a lifelike rubber hand. Can you use any of it against the intruder? You glance over to the window and gulp. The masked figure is starting to climb inside. Turn to page 132.
Okay, so you tie all of the silk scarves to the bottom of the rubber hand, and then you give the hand one of the bottles and you swing it around in the air, and then tell the hand to release the bottle in the right direction, and there you go, classic weapon.
That is the most point-and-click game sentence I've ever heard.
That's exactly what I was thinking about as well. It's like, you've just opened the suitcase, and the suitcase is like Sam's inventory in Sam and Max or something like that, and you're just clicking to add the items to one another.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do something!
Zach shouts. You frantically rummage through the suitcase. You notice the two black wands with silver tips lying at the bottom. Great, you think. What would be a better weapon against a magician than a magic wand? But why are there two, you wonder? One is dull, gray, and battered. The other is shiny, black, and new-looking. Which should you use? Wave the old wand or shake the new wand? Well,
I love the idea that, like, what's a better weapon against a magician than a magic wand? Yeah, what's a better, weapon against a fire Pokemon than Flame Wheel? It's like,
yeah. Gun.
That's not necessarily how that works.
Gun, sword, knife,
Gun.
torture.
The pen is mightier than the magician, actually. It's an old phrase, old saying.
Yeah, the pen is mightier than the magician, but the gun is mightier than the pen. And a
That's
stern
right. Sorry,
talking to
can
from
we
Mama
go
is
weapon
mightier
tier
than
list?
the gun.
Weapon for fighting a magician tier list?
Yes. Step 1, S tier, gun. What else you got? You got anything higher than that for S tier?
Oh, I was gonna say like heckling or something like that. Something that's like just morally corrosive to the magician themselves. Something like in the same way that the Wicked Witch of the West gets doused in a little bit of water and then goes I'm meditating and then just becomes a puddle on the floor. Like something that would corrode them to that degree. Just like someone sitting in the audience who for the first couple of tricks, it's just clapping along and laughing along a little bit, but then eventually just gets to the point that they're like, what? Don't you know how to do anything else? You're a garbage magician up there on the stage. What are you doing? Something like that.
Yeah.
That would end a career.
It's true. That is
just
absolutely true. Well,
do you have a take on the wands?
My thought is sort of like it's like that question where it's like, if you live in a town with
2 barbers, baby.
2 barbers. Yes.
Yep.
The end.
But continue to explain for the audience's sake. I get you though.
Nope. Wave the old wand then.
If you live in a town with 2 barbers, and one of them is dull gray and battered, and the other one is shiny black and new looking, which of the barbers are you going to go to?
Now this is different. Let's go with... Oh, gosh. The thing is, okay, so the old one is used, like that's the implication is that it's well used. So the thought would be like, oh, well, did they get a new wand because this one is no longer good?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason in my head to think new is better for this. But
also the only reason I can imagine why new is better, because on the inverse, like, we know one of these has been used. We know that one of these works at the absolute least, or has worked in the past. This shiny new one, entirely possibly, is a prop. Just nothing.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, old one.
Let's go for the old wand. I'm slightly leaning towards old wand.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be, as always, it could be gotcha in either way, but I think that there's more gimmicky ways to make an old, like, to justify an old one.
Mm-hmm.
So, you figure that the old one must be the one that the magician uses the most. If it's good enough for him, it must be good enough for you. You grab the battered wand, and an electric shock goes through your hand. Yow! It stings! That must mean it's working. You wrap your hand tightly around it.
Hold it right there!
You order. You point the wand at the masked man.
One step closer and I'll use this!
The deep rumbling voice fills the room.
Ignorant pipsqueak! You would dare turn my magic on me?
So it is Mysterio behind the mask. Yeah, okay. There, you'd recognize that voice anywhere.
I mean it! Leave us alone!
You cry. Mysterio raises his hands. The long, jagged fingernails drip dark red goo. He jabs them towards your eyes. Don't blink! Turn to page 5!
What dark red goo is already dripping from his fingernails?
That's where I'm at. It's like, dark red. I was like, oh my. Are they trying to... They're just trying to paint the image of he has blood under his fingernails, but that's a bit too gross, a bit too dark. We're going to say it's goo.
Which, to me, almost reads as much grosser.
Yeah, it's true. But...
Also, Mysterio, just like... Look, if you have to bite your fingernails, just stop before you reach the finger. That's all I've got to say about the situation, Mysterio.
Yeah, I cut myself off there at the very least. But you leap away from Mysterio, you glare down at the wand. How does this thing work, you wonder? You better figure that out, and fast. You try waving it, and all that does is leave a trail of tiny, twinkling white lights in the air. Very pretty, but not super helpful. When you wave it in the other direction, you get a trail of green and blue sparkles. I wish I knew how to make this thing work, you think? The tip of the wand starts to glow. Aha! That's it! Wishes make it work. That's a genie. But as Mysterio reaches for you, you put all your strength into a single powerful wish. You feel the energy flow down into your arm and into the wand. It builds and builds until the whole house vibrates with it. Then you close your eyes and release it. I wish Mysterio would go away, you think. Peek at page 71 to see if it worked. This is very much setting up for the what was the genie book called? I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember anything except for the cover. The cover was so good.
It is so good.
It was a yassified gas cloud.
It's true. Oh shoot, was
The malevolent genie that something?
Genie Goose Bumps. Oh my god. The Scream of the Evil Genie.
Ah, yes.
Was it 71? This is right. Yeah?
I believe so.
Okay. A green ball of energy bursts from the wand and surrounds the masked magician.
Curse you!
He screams.
Curse you, you meddler!
A long tunnel of light opens behind him. You watch him being dragged backwards into it. He becomes smaller and smaller, and then he's gone. The tunnel folds in on itself and vanishes. We just sent that man to the afterlife.
We just ended him.
Bye-bye. You glance down at the wand. It's gone too. So's the suitcase. There was a suitcase, wasn't there? You can't quite recall. Hey, how'd you get those scorch marks on your fingers? They look like a burn, but they don't hurt. You wouldn't forget burning yourself, would you? Turn to page 83. This is the most, like, scattered thought process book so far.
Yeah.
It's just so...
And also...
Yeah.
Sorry, it didn't... Like, it feels, scattered, discontiguous, but, like, didn't we just grip something that we were like, oh, this is, like, electrically shocking my hand, but that must mean it works? Like, surely we have reasoning for, possible burn scars on our hand? I don't know.
Yeah. Huh.
What are we doing at my house?
Zach asks. He sounds dazed.
What happened in the magic show?
You shake your head.
That's funny.
You say.
I can't remember anything about that.
You shrug.
I guess we didn't go.
I wonder why.
Zach shakes his head as if he's trying to clear it. Then he brightens.
Hey, Mysterio's performing again tomorrow night.
Great!
You exclaim.
Let's go! Of course, I don't believe in all that magic stuff.
You add with a smirk.
I bet it's all just done with mirrors and wires.
Yeah, guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Zach declares.
Maybe the great Mysterio will make a believer out of you after all.
You laugh and shake your head.
Don't count on it. I hear that show has dog abuse.
Yeah, I mean, fair. The end.
So, so the fact that we don't remember anything about it, I wish Mysterio would go away. Like, did we remove it? I thought that we might have removed him from the world, and that's why we forgot about, the zap that the wand had given us immediately afterwards.
But then he's still here. He still exists. What? All right, well, do you want to...
Let's make absolutely... It was definitely 71 after we waved the old one, right? Just making absolutely
Yeah, I'm
certain
with you
here.
that it's like... It's such an unsatisfying kind of like, I don't know, like eclectic... Don't blink, turn to page 5. Yeah, like the fact that we've never had to do this before, we're like, okay, do we go back? Like, were we on the right page? I think it's telling. Page 5.
Yeah,
71. 71. That was the right path. All right, well, let's, I guess, go for the new wand, I suppose.
Yeah, let's give that a go.
You figure if you're going to battle a magician, you need a full-strength weapon. You grip the shiny new black wand and point it at the masked intruder.
Not a step closer!
You order. Your voice trembles with fear. Your hand shakes as you hold out the wand, and the intruder stands inside the living room. His mocking laughter fills the room, and Zach cowers behind the couch.
Go!
You shout. Desperate, you raise the wand and bring it down again with a sharp flick. A dozen brightly colored paper flowers burst out of the top of the wand. Oh no, it's a trick wand. Terrified, you fling the flowers at the masked man's head, and he ducks. Gives you a moment to escape. You grab the suitcase and drag it to the front of the hall, and Zach is right behind you. He slams the living room door.
Quick, the table!
He cries. Together, you work to shove a heavy table against the door. Turn to page 92.
It is nice to have full confirmation that, yeah, we were just bang on about those.
Yeah, it was right. But the thing is, we may have been right, and then a failure is fine. It still leads to the correct path. Is always a strange secondary case that you can't really plan for. You gasp, leaning against the table.
That was close.
Bam, bam, bam. A pounding on the front door makes you jump.
Now what?
Zach wails.
Do you think that masked guy ran around to the front door? I have a feeling he wouldn't knock.
You point out. You stare at the door as the knocking gets harder and more furious.
Open it, please.
A voice shouts. Zach peers through the peephole.
It's a cop.
He reports. Relief floods through you. Maybe someone spotted the intruder and called the police?
Quick!
You cry.
Let him in.
Zach unlocks the door and pulls it open. The officer studies you and Zach.
Were, you kids at the Civic Center Auditorium this evening?
He demands.
At a magic show?
Yeah.
Zach replies.
I thought so.
The officer nods.
You matched the description on the radio. You're gonna have to come with me.
Why?
You ask, taking a step back.
You kids are in big trouble.
He announces.
The Great Mysterio says you stole his stuff.
Turn to page 11.
We'd like to report the Great Mysterio for animal abuse.
Yeah. No, that doesn't matter. You tried to save the dog. Go in prison.
Nope, I'm sorry. I only care about property rights.
We're not thieves.
Zach protests.
It was an accident.
Zach glares at you. He's mad at you for getting him into trouble. He didn't want you to take the suitcase. How can you fix this? You have to make the policeman understand.
We didn't mean to take anything. We just wanted to get away from that creepy magician. Besides,
You add.
He was mistreating a little puppy. That's a crime, isn't it?
The officer narrows his eyes at you, and he scratches his chin. He murmurs.
You don't look like bad kids. Tell you what, get that suitcase open and come with me. I'll have a talk with the magician. Maybe I can get him to drop the charges.
Really?
Zach says.
Thanks, officer.
You hurry over and get the bag of tricks.
Ralph,
You whisper.
are you okay? Don't worry, we'll take care of you.
The suitcase gives a little jerk in your hand. He might have understood you. This is the first implication that we have that actually might be a dog in there. You and Zach follow the officer towards the street. Wait a minute. Something's wrong here. You feel a sudden chill up your spine as you realize what it is. The porch light is shining directly on the officer's back, but he doesn't cast any shadow on the walk. Turn to page 16.
Ooh.
This is the second or third time that we've gotten a mission failed successfully. Like we've had to do something that fails to get the correct path, which is so interesting.
I think it keeps it spicy. I like it.
I don't mind it, but it's more just like, do we have to factor that in for the rest of the book? Do we have to not only like 2 layers deep where we want to pick the one that is going to fail, not because it's going to pull the double bluff and the fail is actually going to be a succeed, but it is going to be a fail, but that just doesn't matter. That's a whole new layer. But, hey, you freeze, staring after the policeman. What's going on? How can he not have any shadow? The policeman goes around to the driver's side of his patrol car to unlock the doors. Zach starts to follow him.
Zach!
You whisper. But before you can warn him, a hand grips your shoulder.
Don't get in that car.
a voice whispers behind you.
He's not a real police officer. He's one of them.
Out of the corner of your eye, you glimpse a woman with dark, long hair. She's wearing a black sweater and black jeans. Big sunglasses hide her eyes. You notice she's clutching Zach's shoulder with one hand.
Give me Mysterio's bag of tricks and run back inside the house.
She tells you.
It's your only hope of safety.
Hey, you get away from them.
The officer yells.
You kids get in the car quick. Didn't you hear me? Move!
Whose orders do you take? The officers, turn to page 54. The woman's, turn to page 90. Or nobody's, turn to page 22. I mean, okay, so the officer is a phantom. That does not mean he is a bad phantom. He could be a phantom that wants revenge or wants to be fixed, whatever. The woman, I don't like that she led with "give me the bag of tricks."
Yeah.
So I don't know. They could both be. I don't trust either of them. And we never get the option of nobody.
Don't trust. They do have the option of nobody. I don't trust either of them either. I know that, like, for certain, I don't want to take the officer's orders here and go for 54. I have this I have this weird thing in my body of, like, the enemy of my enemy is definitely my friend, and then I will 100% get betrayed and tricked and fooled based on that working 90 times out of 100. But there is part of me that's like, I don't know, are they gonna triple trick us here? Like, we thought it was the Mysterio, and then it was an officer, and then it was the woman, and it turned out to be the bad person each time. I don't know. I will say 22 feels like a nice, safe, I believe that I'm going to be the right steward for this case kind of option.
All right, so we're going to listen to nobody. Pave our own path. I am the destiny maker. You have no idea who the good guy is, if there even is one. Is anybody on your side? Is there anyone you can trust? One thing you know for sure. You don't like strangers grabbing you from behind. Fair. You twist your head around and chop down... Okay, this is a there's a big jump from not listening to somebody and you twist your head around and chomp down on the woman's little finger. Oh my. I'm assuming, oh my god, is this the fabled return of the Discord cutout?
Oh, did we get Discord cutout?
Yep, absolutely still happening.
Wow, it's just I went too high too quickly on that. It's fine. We'll have the copy on the actual audio version.
I know. It's just amazing that like, what a throwback. What a throwback to like the first 5 episodes. Wow. She lets go of your shoulder and jumps back.
Come on, run! You
shout to Zach.
Where?
He asks as you sprint together down the sidewalk.
Who cares? Away from them!
You reply, panting. As you near the corner, a bright orange glow fills the street behind you. You glance over your shoulder, and the woman and the officer are hurling... You glance behind you, and the woman and the officer are hurling fireballs at each other. Your mouth drops open as you watch them. Unbelievable. Turn to page 28.
They going full Street Fighter back there? Hell yeah.
Hadouken. Oh, God. Better watch out for the spinning bird kick. This is perhaps a level of unhinged heretofore unseen. I don't know. This is very much like, it's not as unhinged as the one page of you get picked up with giant tongs and then the city comes up from the ground and you are now in a city. But it's like a little bit there the whole time.
Yes, although at least in this one, the characters in situ do find it wild and incredible rather than like, oh, yeah, I guess I just got plucked from tongs and dropped in Egypt.
Yes, exactly. You grab Zach's arm. He stops and glances back. His eyes widen in amazement.
Who are they? What are they doing? They must be rival magicians.
You realize.
And they both want Mysterio's bag.
Oh no. The bag!
Ralph!
You exclaim. You spot Mysterio's suitcase on the sidewalk between the two battling magicians.
That poor dog might get hurt. I'm going back to rescue him. Don't!
Zach yells.
You'll get killed!
Hurl yourself over to page 46. Keeping low, you scoot back towards the two warriors. You can just make out a faint blue glow, like two globes around both the witch and the magical policeman. When one of the fireballs strikes the blue glow, it flashes and fades away.
Wow.
You murmur. They each have their own force fields. Too bad you don't have one. You duck behind a bush just a few feet away from the suitcase. You hold your breath. Yikes, a fireball speeds past you. You throw yourself flat and explodes in the bushes behind you. In an instant, there's nothing left of the shrubs but sparkling powder. Wow, that was close. This is no place to hang out. You wait for your heart to beat at its normal pace again, and you peer out from your hiding place. It's now or never, you tell yourself. Turn to page 129. I shall die for this Invisidog.
Hey, I'm ready to.
I'm ready to. I've died 10 times for the Invisidog. You focus on the suitcase, trying to ignore the battling magicians. Fear shoots through you, but you have to save Ralph. 1, 2, go! You scurry out from behind the bush and grab the suitcase. Without slowing a beat, you hurl yourself back under the bush, and you lie there panting. Did either of the magicians spot you? You roll over and glance through the shrubbery. No, they're busy fighting, too busy fighting to notice anything else. 2 fireballs collide midair, and a dazzling white light fills the block. You twist away and shield your eyes. When you open them again, the street is empty. No witch, no cop, no patrol car. Mysterio's bag of tricks also vanished. Zach runs over to you.
You all right? What happened?
You shake your head sadly.
I guess they destroyed each other. I just wish they hadn't destroyed...
You hear a sharp bark. From the shelter of the bush, a little dog dashes out and jumps up into your arms.
Ralph!
You exclaim. The puppy licks your chin. You grin at Zach.
I was honestly totally mad when you volunteered us to go on stage.
You tell him.
But this pup is a decent payoff.
Yeah,
Zach admits.
this pup rocks.
The abrupt end.
Woo! Yeah!
I mean, it's a good end. It's a good ending.
I think the fact that it's so contiguous through in the like individual line of, you know, all of the things that I thought the character would want to do for the sake of the dog, they did for the sake of the dog and talked about it through the entire line. And honestly, like, this is exactly the payoff I wanted to get at the end of the dog line of like, hey, everything worked out. Everyone's safe. Well done.
I know.
It
just feels
I
like
do
there's
kind
a
of
layer of intrigue that is not answered in the slightest.
mm-hmm.
That feels
This really does feel like, you know how the Avengers movie came out and there was, you know, the big Avengers thing that happened in New York City and all of that.
Nope.
Okay, so there was a movie, 2011, Joss Whedon, The Avengers.
Okay, gotcha.
It was pretty big. But after that, for, I want to say about 3 phases worth, they started to focus on small stories. This is in the MCU in general, started to focus on small stories from people who didn't really understand the grand significance of what was happening in Manhattan at the time, and instead just had a small scope of it that they were focused on, of like, yeah, sure, aliens are crashing all around, but like, I've got home troubles and relationship troubles, and you know, it's exacerbating that. Like, you know, the scope is so much smaller than the actual magnificence and mysteriousness of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
It does feel like, oh, there's magic. Yeah, but I've got a dog to save, so I'll worry about that in a little bit of time. First dog, then maybe if I have time, I'll care about the magic.
Yeah, which I mean, fair. I agree.
Good priorities.
Good priorities. But as a satisfying book conclusion as a whole, do I feel like everything that I wanted answered was answered? No. Is everything that I needed to happen? Or did everything that I need to happen? Yes. This is the only thing I needed to happen. Like, I needed this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm almost like, do we go back and just like, I don't know, see the policeman and the witch, what they would tell us to do?
I'm more than happy to jump back to that. I mean, to me, this will be the canon ending.
I think this is the canon ending.
We saved the dog.
Yeah. It's just, it has so little to actually do with the Great Mysterio, truthfully. I think that's what it is, too. It's like, we've barely engaged with the villain. But, okay, what did I do? I just went to whatever the first one was. I
believe that was go with the policeman.
Okay. Well, we'll do that one. I imagine these are both and like deaths is my guess, but maybe not.
That's my guess as well, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's go!
You shout. You and Zach wriggle out of the woman's clutches. You dash over to the police car. Zach yanks open the back door and hurls himself inside. As you dive in, the woman in black makes a grab for the suitcase. You push her away with your foot as you tumble into the back seat. The officer leaps behind the wheel. An instant later, the car takes off with a squeal of burning rubber.
Who was that woman?
Zach asks the cop.
What'd she want?
She's a notorious witch,
He replies.
We've been keeping track of her for some time. She's been after Mysterio secrets for years.
Did you hear that right? You just fought off a witch? Wait a minute. You didn't think the police spent their time tracking down sorceresses? Then you remember something. This policeman has no shadow. And he's not talking like any officer you've seen on TV. You know.
Most of the officers I've seen on TV don't talk about witches and Mysterio.
I know. They should. I wish they did.
Yeah.
I'd watch Cops if it was, like, oh my God. Yeah, I'd be way more interested.
If it was Magician's Secrets Revealed, if it was just that, but it had a different name.
Yeah, pretty much. Penn and Tellers fool us or go to jail.
It's like it's the follow-up for Ripley's Believe It or Else. Penn and Tellers fool us or else.
Believe it or else. Ripley's Believe It or Not. But I love Ripley's Believe It or Else is so threatening. That's so much better. Oh my God. Okay. All right. You try and remain calm, like in real life. You're probably just jumping to conclusions. After all, the police would track a witch if she committed a crime, right? Maybe that's just what this guy means.
Oh, yeah.
The officer continues.
We'll be bringing her in for unlicensed sorcery one of these days. Is that a crime?
Zach asks. He looks puzzled. The officer laughs. He turns around in his seat to face you.
You better believe it is, as you two will find out. Illicit possession of magical apparatus and practicing magic without a permit. Ooh-wee! The mag will probably throw the book at ye.
You try and control your rising panic.
Do you mean judge?
You ask.
No. Despite the fact that mag could easily be kept as a shorthand for magistrate, I mean judges are for, ordinary crimes, and for magical crimes, you have to go to the mag.
Your head spins. What is he talking about? Then a more urgent question occurs to you. If he's turned around talking to you, then who's driving the car? Turn to page 34.
It's Ralph.
That's what I was... Yep. Or car?
There's nothing in the car's manual that says a dog can't drive it.
It's true. Who's driving? You try and form the question, but you're so afraid that the words clog in your throat. Zach grabs your arm.
Look out the window!
He gasps. Your stomach tightens in terror. The street has vanished, and so has the town. So is anything at all that's familiar. The car zips through a tunnel of flashing lights. There's no sky, no ground. Just swirling colors that you've never seen before. What's going on here? What world is this? How will you get back to your own? Turn to page 38.
The great Mysterio is an important man.
The officer tells you.
You made a big mistake when you offended him. Still, you are just kids. The Mac may go easy on you.
Go easy.
Zach repeats. His voice quavers.
What does that mean? Well, if you're lucky, no jail at all. Just a few days of probation in the custody of a responsible magician. Someone like the great Mysterio.
Your terror grows as you imagine what your life would have been like with Mysterio in charge. Still, you can handle a few days, can't you?
Of course, we work on magical time here.
The officer adds.
For you, a few of our days will probably seem like ages and ages and ages. In fact, you'll probably never really feel as if your probation has come to an end.
The end. Wow.
All right. This is pretty much exactly what I imagined this path was going to be. He's, a phantom assistant. I didn't imagine that there was going to be a dual system of judicial power, specifically that they would just have a magician's magistrate's court, but
yeah.
Okay, that's cool too. I do like knowing that extra spice about the world.
I know. I'm like, it's setting up some world building that I'm interested in, and I'm like, well, then why'd you have us go like 6 pages just kind of like asking the same questions over and over? Like, we could have learned more about the world. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy we saved the dog. But holy moly, I am confused. The woman is right. Running back in the house sounds like a good idea. Sorry, this is just for wrapping up these. This is the accepting what the person we found out is a witch says.
Yes.
The woman is right. Running back in the house sounds like a good idea, but handing over the bag? Never.
You want it?
You shout at the woman.
Here! Take it!
You swing the suitcase backwards. You crash it as hard as you can into her leg.
Ow!
She lets go of you and bends over to rub her knee.
Let's get out of here!
You shout. Zach dashes ahead of you. You stumble a little with the suitcase. Before you can get far, the woman points a finger at you. She mutters something that sounds sort of like...
Squirrel new. Ah!
You shriek. You drop the suitcase and clutch your head. It's pounding. Heat rushes through you. You scream in agony. Your whole body's twisting with pain. Then everything seems to move far away from you, as if you're staring at the back window of a speeding car. Then it stops. You glance around. You discover that you're in a jungle of plants as big as you are. In the distance, you see a group of dark trees as tall as skyscrapers. What happened, you wonder? Where am I? Turn to page 7.
I'm just going to put my early guess in that she sent us back in time.
Safe. Bet. You hear Zach calling your name. His voice seems to be coming from somewhere high above you. He sounds worried. But where is he? You open your mouth to shout. Your lips and tongue feel strange.
Zach! Zach!
You try to say. All that comes out is a high-pitched squeak. You glance over your shoulder. Your back is covered with grayish-brown fur. A long, bald tail stretches out behind you. Your tiny pink nose twitches in terror, making your whiskers shake. Whiskers? Yikes! You're not a human anymore. You're a... The woman's laughter startles you.
Act like a rat, kid, and you might just find yourself living like one.
You peek through the tall blades of grass and watch the witch grab the suitcase. Rats. You're sure you made the wrong decision that time, and it looks like this little game of cat and mouse has come to an end. Well, well, well. All right. What a bizarro book. I mean, I'm glad we got the dog subplot settled.
I am loath to disagree strongly. Ever in my life. However, I think that, like, given the fact that, both of us are, animal lovers,
Yes.
both of us come into things like this with the immediate draw of, like, well, other options are on the table, but one of these is the be kind to what is
That is
possibly a puppy option.
Yes.
So I think that in all circumstances, we were choosing the option that's like, I don't care what else is happening, I'm taking
Yeah.
care of this puppy. And that's how we ended up on this track. And because of that, I love it. This might be my favorite Goosebumps so far, actually.
Oh my god. That is...
And for the story's sake, not necessarily like the book's gameplay sake,
Yes.
which is not something I overly focus on often.
Yeah, I think for me, I have this level of... It felt like it was really confused for a while until suddenly, like, all of the stuff we were doing for the puppy, there was like, it was all presumptive and hopeful in like a Christmas movie kind of just believe kind of way.
Yes.
And with no ever like confirmation. It's just I don't know. It felt so strange that we didn't even know if there was a dog until the page in which we realized we saved it.
Oh, I will say there was one little hint before, because they definitely did that a couple of times of like, you don't even know if the dog's in there anymore. It's starting to get heavier. It's not making noise, all of those kinds of things. But then when we followed that path enough, it was back on track and said, like you say to the thing like, hey, Ralph, don't worry, I'm going to keep you safe.
Yeah,
and
there was the one
the suitcase gives a little tug. That was I would like if they did that a couple more times, but I also think if they did that a couple more times, like, people playing this book would just take that line, right? Like, the stronger you're like, there's still a dog in there, the stronger it's like, well, that's the only option I'm going to go to. What do you think, I'm a sociopath?
Yeah. I don't know. I am not going to sit here and say I'm not satisfied with saving the dog. As animal lover, obviously I am. We picked that path. I do think that, in the mentality of assuming that the other paths have the same kind of like, almost like an algorithm, like, you seem to like animal, so we are making this the animal path. Or, assuming the other ones are like that, I could see the format being good. Like, if we picked things that leaned more into solving the inherent mystery of the book, then I would, and then the ending, like, kind of explained more of, like, I don't know, like, why is this man evil? Like, why is this man evil? Like, I'm not saying, like, I need his backstory, but, like, our interactions with him are all just, give me back my suitcase. Give me back my suitcase.
What about the parallel dimension?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is like, what is the parallel dimension about? Why is the police officer a ghost? Like, what are the other things in the suitcase? Like, there's like so many elements that I think that were just on a different path, that were kind of the more satisfying, normal, like, general story structure circle. This was like, it felt like we were playing the B plot of a sitcom. Like, if that makes sense. Like, as in, like, which is that it's not wrong, but not wrong to do, and it's not wrong that it's like this. It's that it's weird because we were also fully seeing all of the stuff that the main character or whatever, like the A plot, is seeing, but then we were like cut over to doing some silly, only relevant for one-page antic that presumably was while the A plot is getting answers.
Yes.
So it leads to this weird thing where if you're a fan, or if what you want is just like a normal, clean story structure, you're left with, well, this is what you asked for, and it's true. Like you got the answer to the dog problem, which I want. I guess I wanted both. If that is, if that makes it more clear, I wish we saved the dog and learned more. Is kind of where I'm at.
I can see in a kind of slightly meta way as well as we were scrolling through pages that the other path definitely seems like it explains a lot more about the nature of the magical world and Mysterio himself, etc.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But hey, perhaps that's the nature of a choose your own adventure. We chose our adventure, and it was to save the puppy, which I say is probably the correct one for
Also,
moral reasons.
I will say that you saying the puppy instead of Ralph, I think is also correct. Because why do we think his name is Ralph? Because he got zapped and barked. That's like if there's someone who's like, just constantly being beat for their entire life, and you're like, what's your name? Ow? Is your name Ow? I'm gonna call you Ow, ouchie. I'm gonna call you Oof, stop hitting me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you?
Yeah.
Although you can't also ask the dog its name, because then Ralph. Oh, okay, I guess it was.
Yeah. Mark. Oh, his name is Mark.
I love the idea of Mark. I could speak the whole time.
Mark. My name's Mark.
Mark Roblance. What? You have a last name?
Yeah. But hey, well, man, oh man. I suppose that is the wrap up here. But we do have a little shout out to do for sure. You want to take that?
Oh, so indeed we do. Special thanks, of course, to executive producer from patreon.com/turntopagecast, and that is Adams this week. Thank you very much for the special production role that you are playing as one of the hardcover patrons.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adams. Thank you. Huge appreciation for helping us over on, again, for the Americans, patreon.com/turntopagecast. Wonderful thing. Huge thanks for supporting over there. It helps us, potentially get some books that we otherwise wouldn't have access to. And it's going to just help with increasing the quality, hopefully, of the show is really the full on focus of that. So huge thank you. Yeah. If you want to check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@turntopagecast as well. You can find kind of, the videos uploaded over there as well. Any support on that is wonderful and can be done for completely free if you want to help out the channel in a non-monetary way. It is wonderful as well. So huge thank you.
Another way to do that? Another way to do this, huge, of course, thanks to people who have. And another way to do that would also be leaving reviews on the sites that you might listen to a podcast on, apps you might listen to a podcast on, forums that you might listen to a podcast on, such that we can grow the audience for it. Also, not for nothing, if you have a friend who this is the kind of thing that they might be interested in, maybe you're aware that you'd both read Goosebumps, maybe you share some memories about it, maybe they'd be interested. Word of mouth is useful.
It's true. It's very helpful, especially right now. But hey, alas, I think that is that. It's going to do it here for this week. So thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Mark.